Hello everyone and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. I'm Cassie Trask. Today we're going to be playing with some honeybee stamps products. I have this beautiful Hoosier Cabinet. It is so cool. I love how big it is. In fact, I'm going to show you in the end a card that I made just being a shaped card like the Hoosier. It comes with so many great dies and for all different seasons. However, we're going to make it a Christmas card because we're going to use the Hoosier Cabinet Holiday Add-on. Check that out. How beautiful is that? We're also going to pair that up with the Home for the Holidays stamp and die set. So we're going to have some fun today. To save a little time, I did go ahead and die cut out all of my pieces because there's a lot to die cut out. And we're going to go ahead and do double speed right now. But this is what we have. We've got a brown piece for our background. And then I'm just using my stylus. And we're kind of reinforcing the folds or the score lines for the cabinet doors because how cool is that? They can open up. You can even put things inside the cabinet. And your recipient can open those doors and see what's inside there as well. This was so much fun. If you are somebody who enjoys piecing die cuts together or die cut pieces together, you are going to love this set. I absolutely had the best time, not only die cutting, but piecing this together. It was so much fun. I put on a book and just listened and had the best time. So there's all the pieces I'm going to show you. We've got lots of cabinet doors, and there is a lot of detail in these cabinet doors and all the other pieces as well. There's embossed parts to it, and you'll see that in a second once we start inking up the pieces. But I'm going to die cut all of those out, and then we're going to bring in some antique linen distress ink in the cube. Before we go any further, I did want to share a tip with you. So sometimes those big dies can be a little bit intimidating on how to put them together. But if you go back to the ScrapbookPal website and you click on the Hoosier Cabinet, you're going to see some various pictures. I went ahead and printed this out from the website. I just saved it and then just printed it, and I'm going to keep that with my packaging so that I always know how to put this together. So there's a little tip for you. Now what I'm doing is I'm just bringing in that antique linen ink cube, and I am lightly rubbing it over the top of each of the cabinet pieces. I think this gives it a nice farmhouse feel, and it distresses up the pieces really, really nicely. I kind of want a cabinet like this now because I just think it's so cool. And it'll bring in some of the embossing, that the detail on some of those pieces. You're going to see on these two pieces that I do here, it's really pretty. There's a really beautiful design on it, and by kind of inking that up, it'll really bring it to life. So just imagine the color possibilities with a die set like this. But check that out. Look at the detail on that door. I just think it's so pretty. All right, so we'll clean up our mess, and then we are going to move on to start piecing everything together. Now, I do have this sped up to double time. I am going to speed it up to about quadruple time here because we're just piecing things together, and you get the gist. But yeah, so just in a second here, it's going to go quadruple time. I'm looking at each of these pieces and I'm trying to get them ready because you see all these little brown circles. Those are the handles for our doors. I'm going to bring in a pickup tool and we're going to just put those down on top. Makes it super simple to do so. And then we'll finish up all the drawers like that before we move on to putting them on the front of our cabinet. So there they are. Very cool. To adhere the white cabinet piece down to the solid piece, I'm going to start putting some liquid glue behind it. Now I'm avoiding all of the doors themselves because at this point I haven't decided which ones I want open and which ones I don't. You can always add glue to those later, you just can't take it off. So yeah, I at this point hadn't decided yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down to the solid piece. I love how that looks. Like I said, we're going to have a shaped card like this at the end, I'll show you. And now we're going to start gluing the rest of our pieces on there. So we've got our center piece. Next, I'm going to grab in the top pieces that are the dark brown that match the background. And so I'm just going to pair those up. Those would be like the top of your cabinet. And the other piece of the Hoosier that has space for you to put something on it. It's really coming together now. And now we can start putting the rest of our pieces on there, the rest of our doors, and this is where I've sped it up about 4 times. Again, trying to make sure that I don't put any glue on the areas that would close those doors because, as I said, I'm not sure if I want those closed just yet. So we're going to keep those open. Obviously, if you know that that's what you want to do is close them, you can go right ahead and put the glue there. Not even think about it. But yeah, so this was just fun. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoy doing die cut pieces and putting those together. It can look a little daunting, but when you have the right tools and when you have the right visuals, like the, like I printed out the instruction sheet from the ScrapbookPal page, then yeah, it's just simple and super fun. I'm putting in some little shelves inside here. Once again, not sure if I wanted to add anything to those, but I'm going to keep that available and keep those open. I think in the end, I don't end up putting anything in there, but isn't that fun? And then I will grab in various other distress inks to add detail to like the candy canes or the little cup. There's just so many cool embossed parts to this. Now this is, as you see all those pieces up there, that is the Hoosier Cabinet Holiday add-on. And I'm going to start piecing all of those together using some reverse tweezers. I highly recommend reverse tweezers if you are doing any sort of die cut piecing together. That just helps so much more. And then you end up with these adorable little cakes and pies, and oh my goodness, so much fun. And I did do the exact same thing with these as I did with the Hoosier Cabinet. So I did go back to the ScrapbookPal page, and there are actually several pieces that I did print out from it. I'm going to show you those in a second after I get a few more pieces put together, but we're going to put the little ice on top of our gingerbread house, and then we'll add the little windows. My fingers could definitely not hold those because they're so tiny, but again, having the right tools. But this is what I was talking about. So I went and I printed these out to give you ideas how to piece things together. Of course, you can do them how you want, change things up how you want, colors, whatnot, decorate your Hoosier cabinet however you want. But I found that that was, for me, just super helpful. And so I'm going to keep those with my packaging and put my holly berries together. And for the most part, I did do basically the same thing as what was on the packaging, or it's not really on the packaging, but on the ScrapbookPal website, by adding like cream to the pie, and you've got your little berries and the holly berries, which just are so festive. And then I've got little vellum pieces. We're going to add some ribbon to the cookies. And we also have some ribbon that we're going to add to the mistletoe. We'll put our candy cane in with our little cup. And then I've also got some gingerbread men. Now those gingerbread men came from the Hoosier Cabinet. And the stars did too. So I'm going to add the stars and the gingerbread men to make my garland. And it was fun to go through even some of my scraps that I had. It's a fun way to use up the scraps by die cutting out like this as well. And I'll use my glass mat to kind of make sure that everything is nice and centered on there. And also add little dots of glue, and we can attach down our stars and our gingerbread men using our pickup stick. And I have lots of leftover gingerbread men. When I am doing die cutting like this, I like to make sure I have plenty of extra pieces. So, all right, this is going to be a 5x7 card. It works so beautifully on a 5x7. So I did cut my base to be a 10x7 card scored at 5 inches. And then I have that piece of blue cardstock that measures 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And then I'm going to make some floor, so like some little ground for our Hoosier to sit on top of, because I don't want that just to look like it's floating. I'm building a little scene here, so I cut that out of some light craft cardstock. And then we can start assembling that. So I'll use some glue to adhere that down. I'm reusing the Barely Art glue for everything. And normally I do everything on my panel before I attach it down to my card base, but I guess I was feeling brave today and just went ahead and attached that right on down. I do like how there's a nice white border all around it. I think that frames it up really nicely. All right, so now I'll attach down my Hoosier. Once again, we've sped this up about 4 times. because there's just a lot of assembly. And then you can play around with how you're going to put stuff on there. I loved the gingerbread house, so we're definitely putting that on there. And then we've got our garland. So cute. And then we've got a little stack of cookies. And I had so many pieces left over, which is why I decided to make another card that you'll see at the end. But we're going to add just this strip of that blue to the inside of our card. Attach down some of the greenery. And then I do bring in the sentiment. So the sentiment I'm using for the outside says, Merry Christmas from our home to yours. And once again, that comes from the Home for the Holidays stamp set. Love it. Love how that looks. The inside I'm going to stamp says, May the true spirit of Christmas fill your heart with peace and your home with love. That stamp set just went so well with this. And then I do end up decorating a little bit more on the inside. But here are the two cards that I did make. This one is a 5x7. The other one will fit into an A2 size card, but check that out. I absolutely love how these turned out, and I loved putting these together, and I hope you like them too. If you do, go ahead and hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And be sure to check out all that ScrapbookPal has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.